Reytan, Day 9. The morning dew had not yet settled on the rugged Waros plains. Vapid spirit of dead nettle fought for space among henbane and water hemlock, waterlogged, catching breath while drowning so, decorating fetid peat bogs where the blood would often flow. Wispy plumes of acrid smoke penetrating clouds of mist, and all that lived began to choke, hoping it could soon desist. And through the clag came a frail phantom, wavering like a cold blue flame, floating down the caitiff's canyon, pallid as a whooping crane. No one noticed it approach, guards still drowsy from the night. Not an invite, not a note. Through the gates it passed in flight. It disappeared deep inside the castle walls without a stare, to reappear by King's bedside, with no one knowing it was there. Reytan, lightest sleeper was, and always up at break of day, heard he but a faint noise, coming from King's bedroom way. He hid behind the musty door, peering in to see what news. Within, a figure in veil adorned, with runes emblazoned on its shoes. Sass awoke with a fright, and at the phantom's face he yelled, then whispered with a chest most tight, "Aurelia, have you brought me down to hell?" The sorceress, she revealed her greasy hair and hissed with venom like a snake, "Fear ye not, you're not yet dead, but your life it is at stake. While you have been at your bliss, you've been betrayed by your shadow. A Judas sold you with a kiss. You've been backstabbed by your bedfellow." "What say you?" cried the frightened king. "Who is this deceitful villain with its scorpion tail that stings? Tell, Aurelia, I will kill him." She smiled with many broken teeth and stroked his sweaty pale blue face. "You have never peered beneath, so your trust has been misplaced. Two strong arms by your flanks, but which is right and which is left? Which, when speaks, is more than frank, and which deceives you to impress? One has led up to heavens, then through cowardice deceived you. Second one to hell had taken you, and safety guaranteed you. I should gouge your eyes with talons, for they're useless and you're blind. How can you judge truest valiance when you leave your sight behind? I am warning you." She loomed above. "Lest your death is sweet to you, cut the arm I speak of before it turns to strangle you. When the sun imbues the sky with the morning's first bright kiss, seek the truth. What, when, why, and not a single word dismiss." Sass by then had turned pure white and pulled the sheets up to his neck, riding up the wall to hide while sinking like a war-torn wreck. "Am I in midst of nightmare terrors? Are you an unholy hallucination? Am I a victim of my deadly errors, or a creator of my own damnation?" Aurelia closer to his face got then. Her odious breath embalmed his mind. and there, truth, what, why, and when. Your eyes can see now. You're not blind. With this, she floated across the floor, up onto the window's rim. Then with a swipe she was no more, and left the broken monarch grim. Reytan too slumped into murk, with his mind running amok, while the king went half berserk, suffering from delayed shock. Only two I've ever trusted, only Reytan and the knight. Which one is the maladjusted? Which one's squarely on my side? How could I have been so lame in recognizing false maneuvers? Nothing now will be the same. I must be rid of fetid tumours. He donned a cloak of darkest cloth, and with his wise eyes still bulging wide, while trying to show he was not wroth, crept soundlessly outside. Reytan followed him as if a gnat, eager to find out what next. The knight, he was Aurelia's rat, but was the king too far perplexed? Sass came down to handmaid's quarters and woke the two that slept the night. I come in confidence. Your only orders are to tell the truth, for it is right. A ghostly phantom visit gave, informed me I have been betrayed. Speak now before it is too late. Speak only truth, my fair handmaids. We are in fear, replied the first one. We have been tortured for to lie. Please, sir, please make us certain that when we tell you, we'll not die. Who did this to you? Spoke the king aghast. I guarantee your safety's tight. The second maiden, head downcast, whispered, Please, your highness, 'twas the night. Why? Cried the king. Why did he torture you? What made him do such deed? When? Tell, I order you. Each grisly detail I shall need. The first maiden, face full of fear, opened her mouth with shallow breath. When villa herds were throwing spears, burning villages, spreading death, the feeble troops of the night were wiped out swiftly with one swoop. The bands he then sent out to fight were squashed by Scararossa's troops. Perfidio rode into our castle courtyard and swiped the knight off his horse, who begged him then for his own safeguard and pleaded he used no more force. He offered villa herds your coffers and advised them you were in a keep, presented both to them as offer, so in return his life he'd keep. The villa herds a proud race are, sir. By chivalry each one is measured. When Scararossa could not find Sir Perfidio, took just half the treasure. And as they all rode out the front gates, he took one last look at the knight, and muttered softly with much hate, All cowards dress in white. The scoundrel! The snake within my grass! King Sass was gripped by fury. He's made of me an ass. Now I will be his jury. One of you fetch my guards, the other get me Reytan. And pray avoid the yard, lest you should meet that Satan. Now Reytan he heard this, and so like an owl he scarped. Then gathering all his wits, back to his bed he started. It was some time before the mage diviner came. She pushed the heavy door and softly called his name. Arise, Reytan, the king he needs you. Clandestine is this damned affair. Tell no one when you make it through. replied he to her. I'll be there. Sass was heavy in his throne, with 12 guards round his person. The jester entered all alone, hearing muffled words of cursing. You tried to warn me, my old friend, the king addressed the fool with gravity. I failed to judge and comprehend the knight had plunged into depravity, but I was deaf as well as blind. His cowardice and rank ineptitude has nearly robbed me of my mind and shook my faith in rectitude. What has the knight been guilty of? Feigned Reytan real surprise, while he removed his threadbare glove to hide contentment deep inside. Like a dog, he ran from villa herds, then lied to us about his acts. He gave Perfidio half my gold, for I have checked, and tried to sell me too, and that's a fact. And thanks to him I have no army, nor have I funds left for to arm. I am now weak and going balmy, too weak to not to come to harm. Reytan listened to the king's tirade, while gleefully feeling tad amused, how he berated the disloyal renegade, whom he so recently did use. Sass had feared for his fate and for his own reputation. Not a word about the state of his land's impoverished nation. Enough brooding, barked the king. Send the knight to catacombs, lock the door and melt the keys. For long eternity there will be his tomb. And from that moment, just plain Duncan rotted slowly out of sight, while Reytan took up his new function at the facile monarch's side.